What's up, everybody? This is Raphael Garcia back for the August 9th edition of the MMA Ratings Hangout, where we are talking UFC Fight Night 73 and a couple of other big stories going on in the world of combat sports. But before we begin, I definitely want to have you check me out on Twitter, which is where I talk mostly about combat sports, MMA, football, basketball, anything that's going on. You can follow me at rgarcia_sports. You can check out MMAratings.net, which allows me to rank all of the fights, both upcoming fights, how much you're anticipating the fight, and past fights. To talk about how much you like what you saw. It's the only site that allows you to do that, so be sure to take advantage of it. You can also follow the website at MMA Ratings Net on Twitter and Instagram, so check us out there as well. And Adam Martin is another individual who writes for the website, so you can catch him at Adam Martin on Twitter. Michael Ford is another individual who does content for the site as well. So let's go ahead and get right into things and talk about what happened last night. We're going to go quick rundown of who came out victorious last night, and then we're also going to just talk a little more in depth about what's next for some of the guys who earned a victory, and also some of the individuals who took an L as well. So, quick rundown: Glover Teixeira gets his victory via submission over Oven St. Preux, third round rear naked choke. Neil Dariush wins via split decision. Derek Brunson got a win via TKO. Jared Rosho took a victory via decision. Amanda Nunes won via rear naked choke. Ray Borg took a decision. Uriah Hall won via TKO. Chris Camozzi took a decision as well. Dustin Ortiz won via TKO. Frankie Sands got a split decision. Jonathan Wilson won via KO. Marlon Vera won with a submission. And Scott Holtzman won with a submission as well. So the main point that we can take from UFC Fight Night 73 is that Ovince St. Preux is overrated. Personally, I believe he is. This is just something I've been saying just in passing and talking about him. I just think that he was too overhyped coming into this fight, and even before, he hasn't had any what I think are great wins. And that loss to Ryan Bader said a lot to me. I expected this fight to kind of go along the same way, but with Glover Teixeira getting more opportunities to pound him once they got down to the mat. That's exactly what happened. Teixeira controlled every positioning in this fight and was just able to dominate with what looked like just more experience and better cardio work. So I'm not too surprised with what I saw here. It's a good win for Glover. He needed to get back into the win column. He was riding a two fight losing streak coming into this fight last night. So it was a good win for him. He'll still be ranked pretty highly in the light heavyweight division. I think this I don't see him getting a title shot anytime soon. I don't see him getting past the likes of maybe Anthony Johnson. I don't see him getting a win over him. Alexander Gustafsson. Definitely don't see him beating Daniel Cormier. So he's kind of just hanging out in the upper portion of the division right now. But I think that's where he'll stay. I don't see him getting any real title shots or any chance for advancement anytime soon. For OSP, I see he's still probably ranked in the top 10. I think he's in the sixth position right now. But this isn't someone who I can see challenging for a title anytime soon. I think his cardiovascular issues are going to haunt him first and foremost, and I just think that he isn't as sound as people are making him out to be. Now this really isn't his time. So hopefully he takes this loss and takes a step back and learns a lot from what we saw and just goes from there. I think the best fight of the night went to Beneil Dariush and Michael Johnson. Dariush took a split decision win, um, but everyone knows that he didn't win that fight. He was basically dominated from start to finish, and he didn't really have didn't really have any big moments in this fight. He was definitely controlled from start to finish. He was dropped in the first round, and then he looked like didn't look like he was too seriously hurt, but he was definitely rocked in that moment. Then just from that point on, Johnson was just able to land better combinations. He was able to outstrike Dariush for most of the fight. The third round can be contentious. I definitely see how a lot of people scored that for Dariush as he was a little bit more active in that round and was getting better shots, but it wasn't anything. Even if you gave him that round, the first two should have definitely went to Johnson. So it's tough to see how the judges scored this for Dariush, but both men did compete well. It was a good fight. I just don't think that Johnson should have left there without the win. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to both of these guys going forward, how far Johnson falls down the UFC rankings, and how far Dariush climbs up them. I still think Johnson has a lot of value. I wasn't too keen on him maybe even getting a title shot anytime soon, but he looked good last night, and he looked a lot better over his last five fights. It was an interesting stat that came out last night that no one has taken him down since since he's been on this win streak. So he definitely put together a interesting run here, and I like what I saw from him. For Dariush, I don't see him beating guys like Tony Ferguson or Jorge Masvidal, or I know someone mentioned him fighting Al Iaquinta. I think he could win that fight. That is one fight he could win, but I just don't think he beats the guys in the upper echelon of the division. So I think this is a gift for him, but he'll be knocked back down soon enough. Another, probably the next big moment that came out of what I saw last night was Amanda Nunes absolutely dominating Sarah McMahon, and she just looked like she controlled every. I mean, she looked excellent in this fight. McMahon looked like she was trying to pressure her early, and once she started getting a taste of Nunez's striking, she wanted nothing to do with that. But the real turning point came when McMahon got in on a good takedown, had her grips around her, had a very good body lock, and just could not get the Brazilian down to the mat. And it was immediately apparent that she was in trouble from that point on because Nunez started piecing her up. When she landed that right hand, that counter right hand that just dropped, it didn't even, and it was more, you could tell how powerful that shot was because it wasn't like a one hitter quitter, but it hit McMahon so hard that she had to like turn away. And when have you ever seen someone like actually turn away in a fight like that and just drop to their knees? So knew she was hurt. Nunez jumped on her, pounced on her, and was able to pound her out, finish her. This is important too because this is a big win for her to keep her relevant within the women's division. You know, she had that loss to Kat Zingano where she was winning from the first and second rounds, but she just ran out of gas, and which is something that she's known for. She's known to be a very fast starter, but not someone who can finish well. So looking at that fight, she definitely looked like someone who was willing to pace herself better and land her strikes much more technically sound as well. She's an interesting matchup for Ronda Rousey. Of course, that conversation is going to start. She is a very interesting matchup for her because she has her experience in judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Obviously, her judo is not as great as Rousey's, but it was good enough to keep her on her feet against a Olympic wrestler in Sarah McMahon. So you want to see how well Rousey would fare with Nunez's striking, which is better, definitely more aggressive, definitely more powerful. She would be the bigger fighter out of the two. So that is a fight that actually does interest me going forward. It'll be interesting to see how they pair Nunez up in the future. She does have some value to that group. She's not one who does a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of calling out, as she mentioned during the post-fight press conference. But we'll see what's next for her and how the UFC uses her going forward. There were two flyweight fights that I definitely enjoyed as well. Dustin Ortiz getting the win over Willie Gates and Ray Borg getting his victory over Gene Herrera. This is important because the flyweight division is looking for contenders right now. Obviously, you have Demetrius Johnson facing John Dodson for the second time at UFC 190, but 191, excuse me. But beyond after that, who's really left? Johnson has already done his part in tearing through the division. Borg and Ortiz are two men that he has not faced at this point in time, but he's already beaten Benavidez twice. He's beaten Ian McCall. He's beaten Dodson, facing him for the next time. Defeated Kyoto Horiguchi. Defeated Ali Bagatinov. Defeated Chico Camus. So there's so many guys that he's already left laying in the cage. There aren't really too many opportunities next for him. But Ray Borg looked very quick in his fight last night. He looked like he was able to land a lot of combinations. Even on the mat, he was very good with his transitions and his defensive grappling because Herrera definitely did keep him on the defense once the fight hit the floor. But Borg was able to control positioning enough to get the decision there. So I would like to see maybe even see these two guys fight each other, see Ortiz and Borg fight each other in the future. I don't think they fought each other yet. Let me check, but I don't think they fought each other in the past. But that's definitely the type of fight I would like to see. I'm a fan of Dustin Ortiz. I think he has something to offer this weight class. I still think he got jobbed to John Moraga. I think he won that fight. Actually, you know what? They did fight Ray Borg and Dustin Ortiz fought back at UFC on Fox 11. It was a split decision win for Ortiz. So maybe that's even a fight they can run back. Even still, this division is definitely growing. It has value. I know people are strung up on the idea that they're the smallest men and they aren't as exciting to watch. But both of these guys put on a good show last night to show why the featherweight, the flyweight division is worth consideration. So just looking at a whole, those are probably the big talking points out of UFC Fight Night 73. Uriah Hall, he got a win too, but he definitely he defeated a man who came in on short notice. So I'm not too excited about what's next for him just right now. I'm just kind of waiting to see him become that killer that everyone thinks he's supposed to be. Um, this is his fourth win in his last five, but it's still, this guy comes in with a lot of question marks. How is he going to compete? Does he have that killer instinct? So we'll see what happens in the near future as he continues to compete. What I am looking forward to seeing is the next fight for the UFC, what they have on deck with UFC Fight Night 74, where Max Holloway is fighting Charles Oliveira in the main event. That's something I've been screaming for a while now. I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. This fight has a potential to be one of the better fights of the year because both of these guys can go. They go on the feet, they go on the ground. They're very diverse on the mat, very exciting. They're always looking for submissions. So this is the type of fight that will be a mixed martial arts contest, not just a striking matchup, not just a wrestling match, not just a grappling affair. This is going to be a full stop MMA bout from start to finish. I can't wait to see these two guys be in the cage. I'm also looking forward to the Rick Story Eric Silver fight too as well. That's something I've wanted to see. My boy Nikki Thrills, Nikita Krylov is on the card as well. But there's just this should be a pretty good fight. Something I'm looking forward to, a good event from start to finish. But before we go on, before we finish up this show today, I definitely want to talk about some of the other news stories that are going on in the world of MMA. Obviously, those of us that follow the sport, we know that Kusumar Palhares has been stripped of his World Series of Fighting title for holding on to that tomorrow lot too long when he fought Jake Shields a couple of weeks ago. I completely agree with this decision here. I actually wrote on MMARatings.net that they should cut him and release him from the organization as a whole. Just send him on his way, fire the man because he's not going to stop. This has been a recurring theme with him. I think this is like the third or fourth time that he's done this. This is why he was cut from the UFC on a win over Mike Pierce. Mike Pierce still has not competed since that fight in which he was heel hooked by Palhares. So there's just so many examples as to why this guy does not deserve the opportunity to compete in MMA anymore. And I wish that they would cut him entirely. Suspending him indefinitely is one thing, but it's definitely time to get him out of there and get him out of there completely. So yeah, that's definitely something that should be worth recognition when you're talking about Palhares. There's supposed to be the Nevada State Athletic Commission is also talking about disciplining Shields for punching Palhares after the fight, but I'm not too mad about that. He was definitely frustrated. He was getting eye gouged. His shoulder was almost ripped off. He may be sitting out 6 months because of that now. So I'm not too upset with him punching Palhares, but that they just got to stay fair with what they're doing out there. Another big story that came out was Ronda Rousey in UFC 190. Obviously, everyone knows that she dispatched Betts Correa in 34 seconds. But so, according to Dave Meltzer, this event did 970,000 pay-per-view buys, which is astronomical when you think about The fact that she's the only individual, she's the only title holder on the card. The rest of the card was very weak, and it was in Brazil. So all of those factors led up to this being what was going to be, I thought, a poor performing card. And I definitely wrote on MMA Ratings.net that this was going to be a true test to her power as a superstar. Well, clearly she has more than enough power. Clearly she stood out amongst the rest and proves that she's the biggest star that this organization has to offer. She's rumored to be fighting Misha Tate for the third time on the UFC card in Dallas with Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor as the main event. That fight is going to be astronomical numbers. That whole event, if that is the case. Hopefully, there are rumors of them trying to get Cyborg into that fight instead of Tate, which would be even bigger. But hopefully, this is something that we get to see. Rousey is a star, full-fledged star, and I can't wait to see what's next for her, both inside the octagon and out. Outside of the octagon, Bellator recently signed Hisaki Kato to a multi-fight deal. If you don't remember him, he's the guy who knocked out Joe Schilling with that Superman punch. Probably one of the four front runners for knockout of the year this year. But at the time, Bellator only signed him to a one-fight deal. Now he's a multiple. He's the owner of a multi-fight contract with the organization. He's someone that I would like to watch. Someone that would make me turn on Bellator a little more often when he is competing. So something I'm looking forward to. That's good news for him. And for those of us outside of the MMA spectrum, we're talking boxing now. So we're going to look at Floyd Mayweather versus Andre Berto. Personally, I'm not too excited for this fight. I think there are other options for Mayweather, like Danny Garcia, for example, Amir Khan down the line. Someone even talked about him fighting Triple G, which was, I think he would have wanted to stay as far away from that bout as possible. But still, this is supposedly his last fight. We get to see him go out on what will most likely be a win. And it doesn't. When you ask if this hurts his legacy, first and foremost, you need to recognize the fact that Mayweather doesn't care about his legacy in any shape or form. And this is another opportunity for him just to get the win and walk out of the sport with his head held high. I'm not too excited for it. It should have been on free television. It's going to be on pay-per-view. I'll probably watch it somewhere. If not, stream it. Do my thing. But this is just not a big fight that I'm getting looked for. Or excuse me, I'm looking forward to seeing. Um, so that brings us to the end of the show. It's kind of a abbreviated show just because there's not that much going on in MMA at this time. This week on MMA Ratings, we'll definitely have some fight prediction piece as we always do after the major events. I will have some content up there as well to maybe talk about Amanda Nunez and just some other things that we saw from the event this past weekend. Again, you can be sure to follow me at R Garcia Sports, R Garcia underscore sports, excuse me. You can follow MMA Ratings Net at MMA Ratings, and you can also follow everyone else that has something to do with the site. Feel free to check us out and support us, and I appreciate you taking your time to listen to me on this Sunday. Like our YouTube page and stream this content as well. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everyone.